Hey guys, it's me. It's your host, Lucky Ghost. In this video, I'm going to be going over the top 10 items to get in the Crown Store right now. These are my must-haves. This is very much just an opinion, as it's one of those situations where beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so feel free to disagree with me and let me know what your favorites are down in the comments below. The way I'm approaching this is I'm prioritizing items that are uniquely useful and cannot be obtained in-game, mostly. In other words, these are the items you can only get in the Crown Store, with one exception. If you can earn them by playing the game, I won't list them here because generally I like to grab items for free by playing the game whenever possible. To start off our countdown, we're going to start with item number 10 on the list. And this is for those of you who do not have ESO Plus. If you do not have ESO Plus, then there's a couple of zones that I would absolutely consider worth buying. The first of which is Somerset. Somerset is an insanely useful chapter to have access to because it's going to give you access to a couple of things, one of which is jewelry crafting. This is going to allow you to deconstruct jewelry, which is going to give you the materials that you need, and it's also going to allow you to use those materials to recraft and reconstruct more jewelry. Without this, your jewelry options are going to be insanely limited, and it's going to be a lot harder to gear out your character. Not only that, but Somerset also comes with the Sigil Guild. The Sigil Guild is a guild that you have access to by visiting Artaeum. The Sigil Guild contains some amazing skills and passives that are great for magic attunes and tanks, and they're a lot of fun to use, while maybe not the funnest guilds to level up. Next on the list is Greymoor for the Antiquities. With Greymoor came the Antiquities system, and this is going to allow you to scry and to excavate, and it gives you some pretty cool passives. The Keen Eye treasure chest is going to make chests more visible. It's going to give you access to mythic items that you can dig out of the ground or furnishings for your house. There's so much that came with the Antiquity system, and I can't recommend it enough. And for that reason, Greymoor makes the list. All right, number 9 on the list is the one item that you could technically earn in game, but I'm going to put it on here anyway because there's a few ways to get it, 2 of which will involve a crown purchase, 1 of which is the way you earn it in game for free. All right, the first way to get this item is to purchase the Clockwork City DLC. This is going to give you access to the Brass Fortress, and within the Brass Fortress is a transmute station that is there for public use. The transmute station is insanely important to have access to because it's going to allow you to reconstruct any piece of gear that you have ever found in the game, crafting sets excluded, right? So any 5-piece set or 2-piece set, any overworld set, any dungeon set, any trial set that you've ever found in the game, you can reconstruct at any time with any traits in any quality whenever you desire. It cannot be overstated how useful and important this item has become in the game. Now, I did mention that there's a couple other ways to get access to this. The next way to get access to it is just to simply buy it from the Crown Store for 4,500 crowns. And then finally, you can earn it in game. However, it's not an easy thing to do. It is a long and arduous journey. It's going to take doing a lot of the highest level writs, which will eventually yield some master writs. And then you're going to have to do a lot of those master writs to eventually yield enough writ vouchers to purchase one of these transmute stations outright. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. This is going to take an insanely long time, or it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money to fulfill this many master writs. But it can be done. And so if you're not in a hurry to have access to it, this is absolutely one way to do it. All right, number 8 on the list is for those of you with damage dealer characters. There's 2 items in this section, one of which is the Parse dummy. The Parse dummy is basically an item that you put in your house, and it allows you to attack it. And eventually, when you kill it, it will spit out how much damage you did per second, which allows you to both test the viability of your build and your rotation using that build. You'll be able to compare how much damage you're doing with what other people are doing, and a lot of trial guilds are going to require you to submit parses, as we call them, proving that you're capable of doing a certain amount of damage per second. This dummy is how you prove it. You come and you attack it until you get a damage per second number, and if your damage per second number meets the threshold that they require, you screenshot it, and now you're eligible to join their trial runs. These Parse dummies go for 6,000 crowns, which is not cheap. The good news is you don't have to buy one of these. If you join any decent sized guild, it's probably going to have a Parse dummy inside of the guild hall that you'll be able to use for free. So join a few guilds until you get into one that has a Parse dummy and use theirs for free until you feel like forking out 6,000 crowns to purchase one for yourself. if you ever do. The other half of this conversation is an item called the Ethereal Well, which is going to be pretty useful to have for those of you that get really heavy into parsing. This item is going to refill your ultimate so that you can start your next parse sooner. As it stands right now, we have to light attack the parse dummy until our ult is fully charged, and then and only then can we finally start our next parse. No longer will this be the case when the Ethereal Well is released. You'll be able to interact with this well and get your ult topped off immediately, saving you a lot of time and making the task of parsing a little bit more bearable. Number 7 on the list is going to be the Any Race, Any Alliance bundle. This bundle is going to allow you to pick your race independent of your alliance. Typically, when you choose an alliance, that's going to limit you to 3 or so races that you can choose between that fall within that alliance. The two are very much tied together. Now, the only reason you would need the Any Race, Any Alliance bundle is if you plan to PvP in Elder Scrolls Online. If you're coming here purely for the PvE experience, then it doesn't matter what alliance you're in. You can do all the quests in all the areas, no matter what faction or what alliance that you're in. It's not important, and there's no limiting factors. However, if you go to Cyrodiil and you PvP, or you go to Imperial City and you PvP, and you want to PvP with a friend, it's very important that you're both in the same alliance. Otherwise, you'll be on opposing sides and you'll be forced to fight against one another instead of with one another. The Any Race, Any Alliance bundle goes for 2,000 crowns when it's not on sale and is especially useful to you PvPers out there. All right, number 6 on the list is the Bristleneck Warboar. The Bristleneck Warboar is one of 2 items on this list that are going to increase our max inventory size on all of our characters. For 1,200 crowns, you can increase the inventory size of every single character on your account by 5 spaces. Now, if you're new to the game, 5 spots won't sound like a lot, but this is the only way to get your maximum inventory above 200. And therefore, if you have a few crowns lying around and you don't know what to spend them on, this is a great option. Number 5 on the list is the same thing. It's the Mournhold PACKRAT. It's a non-combatant pet that you can purchase, which will increase your maximum inventory by 5 slots for your entire account. So if you're like me and you have 18 characters, this increases your account storage by 180 slots. It really adds up, and it's nice to have the extra inventory space for us hoarders out there. Now, don't worry, you don't have to actually use the pet once you buy it. You can just buy it and then never look at it, never summon it, never touch it again, and you will always have the inventory space upgrade that it provides on all of your characters. All right, now we're getting down to the final 4. Number 4 on the list, I have the Warden. The Warden is a class that was added with the Morrowind chapter. It is a great class that's in a great spot. It does good damage, it's a great tank, and it's one of the best healers in the game. If you're looking for a class to play and the Warden is appealing to you, then be sure to pick this one up. The only way to unlock this class, if you didn't buy a version of the game that came with it, is in the Crown Store, making it one of the most worthwhile crown purchases in the game. Number 3 on the list is another class, the Necromancer. The only way to get this is right here in the Crown Store if you didn't buy a version of the game that came with it. The Necromancer is one of the most proficient DPS tunes in the game and always finding a home in every trial group. It's the newest class in the game, and it shows it's a fantastic damage dealer, it's a fantastic tank, and it's a fantastic healer. Not only that, but it's a ton of fun to play. I made a Necromancer, so I'm a little bit biased, and I can't recommend it enough. If the Necromancer looks like something you'd want to play, I would absolutely recommend picking it up in the Crown Store. All right, the final 2. The final 2 are hard to put in a specific order. The number 2 could easily be the number 1 and vice versa, and depending on who you ask, they might rank one as more important than the other. I'm gonna go ahead and rank these last 2 based on how often I use each one. Number 2 is the Banking Assistant. The banker costs 5,000 crowns, and I can summon it anytime, anywhere to gain access to my bank. Typically, you're going to have to go into town, find the banker, interact with that banker, and then you can pull items out of your bank or put items in. However, if you have this assistant, you'll be able to pull it out in a dungeon or in a trial or anywhere, put items into it or take items out that you would like to use, or transfer items between characters a little bit more conveniently than you would otherwise be able to do. And for all of these reasons, the banker is number 2 on my list. Number 1 is the other assistant, the merchant. The merchant is going to allow you to sell items that you find anywhere in the game. At will, you'll be able to summon a merchant that is eager to purchase anything that you have ever found, no matter how worthless or how useless it is. This merchant is happy to take it off of your hands and give you some gold for it as well. I use the merchant in every single dungeon and in every single trial that I'm in because I am a hoarder and because I am a loot loot fiend. I loot everything, every sack, every crate, every chest, every corpse. I loot it all and my inventory inevitably fills up. I pull out the merchant, I chuck all the items to him, and I get gold for it. Never having to leave items behind and always making a little extra coin feels great. And for this reason, the merchant is the #1 item in the crown store on my list. These assistants go for 5,000 crowns and sometimes go on sale for 4,000. And those are my top 10 must-have items in the crown store. What about you? Which one do you think I missed? Which one do you think should have been higher or lower on the list? Let me know down in the comments below. And remember, it's okay to disagree with me. Like I said, this is just my opinion. I'm Lucky Ghost. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you can be alerted when I post more ESO content.